Mercedes W202 c230. Today we're going to do spark plugs. Sounds like a pretty simple procedure, and it is. It's a pretty easy, non-dirty procedure. You're going to need 5/8. You're going to need to not drop it inside your car either, but we'll get that in a minute. 5/8 spark plug socket, an extension, whatever size ratchet you're using, and a 10 mil for taking off the coils. And a flathead screwdriver, and I'm not sure how many mil it is. I think it's a 5 mil Allen key. Not 100% sure, but we'll find out in a second. Anyway, I'll get back to you as soon as I find that freaking socket. Okay, so I found my socket. Anyway, first thing you want to do is loosen the intake air hose to the throttle body and pop off the two clips to the airflow sensor. Pull this wire. It's tucked into the little this little channel here. Pull that out just for the heck of it, because it makes it easier to move everything around. Pull off the top of the PCV hose from the cylinder cover, and then you're going to need to slide this to the left and then move the whole thing out of the way. Good time while you're in here to throw some carb cleaner or injector cleaner down inside the intake on the throttle butterfly, just to keep it all clean. No sense getting it dirty. So now we're just going to have to remove these three. I think they're 5 mil. 1, 2, 3, 5 mil Allen keys. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so we got the access plate off. And you can see the spark plugs here. There's two coils that each run 2 plugs. And there's a plug under this coil, and then these 2 plugs here. So you're going to have to take off these 4 10 mil bolts. There's 2 on each of the coils. Pull them up, and then pull up the spark plugs. This has got the spark plug boot built into the coil. And once we get those off, we're going to look at them, make sure there's no cracks. Okay, so I've taken the 4 bolts out, and now these coils just lift off the plug. Wow, this one's stiff. What the hell? Come on, baby. Yeah, those 2 are off. Wow, this one is really in there. I don't know why. There we go. Just have to twist it a little bit. I'll gently take these off. Remember, these are wire. There's wires in here, and some of these wiring harnesses can be a little brittle, and you don't want to move them around any more than you have to. So kind of gently set everything out of the way. Try not to bend any wires that you don't have to. Actually, I'm going to unplug that back coil because I don't want those wires moving as much as they're going to. Okay, see the electrical connection on the back of the coil? That can just be unplugged. I'll move that out of the way. And you can see the 4 spark plugs down in their valleys, and that's why you're going to need an extension, and that's why you need your 5/8. Make sure you've got the little rubber boot in there. There's a little rubber grommet inside inside a good spark plug socket anyway, that will hold on to the spark plug when you go to pull it out, or else it'll just slip out. If you don't have a little boot in there, if it's fallen out for some reason, lay a piece of take a long piece of electrical tape, lay it inside, and then let it kind of fold over the lip and onto the outside. As you push it on over top of the plug, it'll grab on, and you'll be able to hold it and pull it out. It'll just provide some friction in there. Anyway, I'm going to pull these plugs out. We'll take a look at them. And of course, as always happens to me, it's freaking raining out. I don't know why it always rains on me whenever I decide to do this, but anyway. Pulled the plugs out. These are NGK Platinums that I put in about a month ago. Car didn't seem to like them, and then I found out why. If you take a look at the boot, the Mercedes boot here, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little there's writing on there. It says 2K ohm. And that means there's a resistor built into this coil and boot. And if you take that resistor and add it to the resistor plug, you get a lot of resistance and not a lot of spark happening. So this engine wasn't happy. So you need non-resistor gap plugs. They're going to be a little harder type to find. You might have to go to the dealership and get regular plugs. But I've gone to the dealer and I got the Beirut stock plugs. They're a non-resistor plug, about $5 a piece. Not that really that big a deal. But in my experience, some cars like platinum plugs, some cars hate them. This car doesn't really like them. So it went from about 38 miles per gallon on the highway down to about 32, and I knew there was something going on. It should have been a lot better than that. So anyway, we're going to change these out. As you can see, everything's burning good. The color is fine. They're nice and tan, a little bit rich from not getting as much spark as they should, especially for a platinum. To have a little bit of soot on them is kind of odd. So anyway, I'll show you the Beirut plug. This is the stock Beirut plug, and like I said, there is no resistor built into this plug because the resistor is built into the coil and the plug wire, and you can't combine two. You'll end up blowing out your coils, and that's going to cost you hundreds of dollars for new coils, and that's not a lot of fun. So, you know, go get some stock plugs. Go get the non-resistor plugs if you can find them. You're going to have to put them in, or else you risk blowing up your coils. Too much resistance on them, and yeah, they'll melt down. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. I'm going to put all 4 of these in, and I mean, it's dead simple. There's no reason to show anybody that. Okay, all 4 plugs are back in. Just remember, if you don't know, tightening spark plugs is not like tightening wheel nuts. You do not crank them on until until you can't crank anymore. You don't do that with wheel lug nuts either. But anyway, about 20 pound-feet of torque is about all you need. 15 to 20. You're snugging them up. You're not. In order to make sure you don't over tighten them, grab your wrench, your socket wrench, by the shaft here, not at the end. You'll get more leverage this way. Grab it in here and turn them, and you won't over torque them. You won't really need a torque wrench, but if you're turning from the center, you're not going to be able to put as much torque as you can from the end of the shaft. It's just simple leverage, and you won't over tighten them. So now we're just going to slip the coils back on and over. And as I said before, you want to be gentle with these suckers because you don't know if the wiring on some of these old Benzes is happy or not. So once you've got all 4 plugs and the coils lined up, you can start pushing them down in. Like I said, gently. These will seat nicely over top of the plug, the cap, the coils will. And this sucker, hopefully it doesn't stick again. That was quite... Wow, that sucker does not want to go on. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it is on. Alright. I didn't hear a click or a snap when it popped on. I'll pop the connector back on and pop that last coil in. I'm going to drop those 4 bolts in, tighten them up, and we're just about done. Okay, coils are all bolted back down. This is another one of those 10 minutes from beginning to end. It's been around 10 minutes total since I started. Make sure your boots, the plug wires to the coils are all nice and firm and secure. Make sure all the wiring is nice and straight and flat. Nothing is out of the way, and you're good to put this, put the cover back on again and start reassembling. Okay, as the last step, like I said, spray some intake cleaner down on the carb butterfly, get it all cleaned out. Might as well do it while you're in there. I use Seafoam. Seafoam works. Might as well use something that works. Most of the other stuff is just crap, but Seafoam seems to work for me. And you just let it sit there, and it will eat through the crud and then just get sucked in and burned out, and don't even worry about wiping it out or anything. So we're just going to put everything back together, and you know how it went together because it came apart this exact same way. I'm getting rained on, so I'm just going to finish this up. Thanks for watching.